What's up to all my AMC FSG members? AMC FSG, that's Anger Management Crew Fire Stick Gang. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And if you're new here, every day at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, join me and my co-host, Key Alexandra, for real boxing talk with an open panel. Thank you. Shout out to the crew. I'm talking about the AMC FSG, the Anger Management Crew Fire Stick Gang. We got David Morrel right now. And yes, he's an Apex legend already. And dropping later on today, I'm going to drop the Apex Legend Volume 3, Andre Ward versus David Morrel at 168. But right now, we're talking about this young boxer at the 175 division. He's supposed to be moving up, chasing David Benavides. David Morrel, 26 years old, 6'1", with an impressive career already on a fast track. He's beat Kujivo, who's 29-2, and Gagbo, 28-2, 24-1, Yamago Faguchi, 16-0 Adios Yorbosi. David Morrel has been fighting top-notch contenders since his third fight. He won the belt in his fourth fight, the WBA World Championship. And a lot of people don't understand, but he's on a fast track. The man was 48-5 with 12 knockouts in the amateurs. He has great pedigree, and he comes from the Cuban school of boxing. Now, a lot of people say that he's untested. I feel like he's the same way as Lomachenko. You know, Lomachenko got a title match his second fight, lost it. And then got another title match his third fight and won. David Morrel is an S class. If we putting fighters on tiers, you got that a C class, a B class. You know, you got D class fighters, and you got A, and then you got the special class fighters, where a lot of fighters never reach that tier. Special class like Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, Bruce Ennis, and future Abdullah Mason. But S class is people that they have everything going for them. Like, if you sit there and put them in there, they have all the intangibles. They have everything you need to be a generational talent. Now, David Morrel, his biggest fight will be David Benavides, who was the interim WBC at 168. And they were supposed to fight, scheduled to fight. But David Benavides chose not to make that fight, which I understand, because David Morrel is probably one of the most dangerous fighters pound for pound out there. But people don't give him his just due. And the thing is, they say he hasn't fought nobody, but he's fighting people with 25 and 30 wins with only 1 and 2 losses. The man defeated the champ Adios Yorbosi, 16-0, foreigner, who had tremendous power, who was #1 contender. He put him in a coma. They had to put that man in a sleep-induced coma to save the man's life. David Morrel is not like your typical Cuban. Now, we all know that Cubans, they have great footwork. We all know that Cubans, they have good boxing skills. Yes, look at Arislani Laura and some of the other ones that's out there. But the thing, and like Andy Cruz is another one, but the thing that separates David Morrel from your typical Cuban, he has unbridled power. Yes, not only does he have power in both hands, but he has a boxing acumen. His IQ is so high that he sets you up and knocks you down. He reminds you of a Tank Davis that's taller and with power. And he's patient. His last few fights have been getting out of there a lot quicker. And he styles on them. And he's young and he's fearless and he's trying to get all the fights. He was supposed to fight Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant denied the fight. He was even supposed to fight the African, Christian and Billy. But Christian and Billy said, hell no. That is a high risk, low reward. But Sidney Gaba, he was the African hitman. The man was on a knockout streak, and he came in there. He didn't make it past 3 rounds. Yes, David Morrel is a problem. David Benavides and team, they understand that. And Samson Likowicz manages both, but he said the fight can be easy. Jose Benavides Sr. said they can do it. David Benavides said they can do it. After he put Adios Yorbosi in a coma, they act like they don't hear this man calling. This man told David Benavides he will take his shoes and walk around Cuba in them. And David has not called him back. But you call yourself the Mexican monster. But what's a monster to a demigod, to a goblin, to a destroyer? That's exactly what it is. And unlike David Benavides, David Morrel, he has punching power and he has speed. He has style. David Benavides has speed, but his punching power is accumulative. He doesn't have one punch power. Plus, he doesn't position himself when he punch to set off and pop with the power. But David Morrel has that torque. He has the know-how, and he has great boxing ability. His jab is impressive, and his reflexes cat-like. And the man has grit, he has heart, and he can take a punch. His chin has been tested, but he's never been down, unlike David Benavides. So, one thing about it, he's a big boy. Fighting at 168 is optimal. Canelo would never fight this man. But David Benavides has now moved up to 175. Morrel has chose to follow him up. He said, I'm going wherever you go. He's going to stop. He said he's not going to stop until you get a piece of him. Now, we all seen David Benavides struggle when he fought at 175. Now, David Benavides at 168 rehydrates to like 200 pounds. David Morrel, when he fights at 175, he'll probably rehydrate to 195, maybe 200. You know, the boy is solid. He gets big, and he's still young at 26, so they're able to cut a lot of weight and rehydrate real nicely. But the big difference is between David Morrel and David Benavides is David Morrel actually has a boxing acumen and skills. He's going to be able to put his punches together. He's going to be able to box. He boxes beautifully off the front and back foot. He has great timing, and his power will carry. David Benavides throws arm punches while David Morrel throws it from the core and through the legs. And I feel like at 175, David Morrel is going to have a lot more pop, a lot more power. And I feel like he's going to be a lot lighter on his feet because he's going to be a lot quicker than the fighters at 175, being as though he's coming up in weight. Now, in the 175 division, I feel like Anthony Yarde will be a good test for him. I feel like he stops Yarde in about 6 rounds. Now, if we're looking at the landscape, you got David Benavides, you got Artur Beterbiev, and you got Dimitri Bivol. Now, all 3 of these fights pose a different task, but all 3 of these fights will add on to the legend of David Morrel, which I feel like will be great fights. I feel like David Morrel won't really have a problem until he goes up to cruiser and fights a Jai Opetaia or a Bredis, a Maris Bredis. I feel like those will be the ones that will give his power a display in which he has to sit there and sit down and fight. You know what I'm saying? So yes, I feel like his power will carry through light heavyweight and bridgerweight. Bridgerweight, I don't see nobody at bridgerweight that will give him a challenge. He will destroy everybody there. MacBook Pro, you know how they call him, Macaboo or MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, whatever they call him, he better stay out the way. But yes, at 175, it's Bivol, it's David Benavides, and it's Artur Beterbiev. Then at cruiserweight, then we got Jai Opetaia and Maris Bredis. Those are the 5 fights that David Morrel is going to cement his legacy on. Now, David Benavides will be the easiest out of all 5, and I'm going to tell you why. David Benavides, he's flat-footed. He stands with his feet parallel. He doesn't have them perpendicular, so he's not sitting down in his power. One thing about David Benavides, he can't take a shot. We've seen him take a shot and he goes down. And see, David Benavides, he likes to use his volume punching to accumulate. But see, David Benavides versus David Morrel will remind you of a Tank Davis versus a William Zepeda. David Benavides being William Zepeda, David Morrel being a Tank Davis. Yes, William Zepeda has a bunches and bunches of punches, but Tank gonna have that hot shit coming back, and that hot shit is gonna fold him. He's gonna punch between punches, and that's the way David Morrel would do. Plus, he won't have a size advantage over David Morrel. They'll be equal in size, but David will have the power. And I feel like Benavides knows that. That's why he's staying away. Because a boxer will always outdo a volume puncher if he can sit there and fight. Floyd versus Maidana. I mean, you know, we've seen the cases of it. especially when you're sitting hot shit back. So David Benavides, I feel like gets stopped in 7 or 8 rounds versus Morrel. The power will be too much. The difficult fight for him would be Dimitri Bivol, and I'm gonna come back to that. Artur Beterbiev, that's gonna be a banger. They're gonna be going at it tit for tat. Now, Artur Beterbiev was a little bit younger, it'll be a lot better. But Artur Beterbiev's just a tad bit too slow for David Morrel. They're about the same size, but Morrel has just as much pop as Beterbiev. And we've seen Beterbiev against Sir Marcus Brown. We've seen what happens when a superior boxer outboxes him. You can outbox him, and if you got some stank on it. But not only does David Morrel have stank, he got that funky chicken on that shit. He's going to pop Artur Beterbiev with the funkiness. It's going to be a hard butt fight. It's going to be a fight of the year candidate. But I feel like the speed of Morrel and the power with the head movement, the foot movement, and the clear boxing advantage, and the fact that he can switch from orthodox to southpaw will be too much for Beterbiev, especially when Beterbiev's pushing 40. Like I said, if it was an earlier stage, it'd have been a lot better. And I remember when Beterbiev fought Alexander Usyk in the Olympics. It was a good fight, but Alexander, his head movement and everything was just too much for Artur Beterbiev. And I feel like David Morrel presents the same challenges, the same problems. So it's going to be really the same as last. Now, Dimitri Bivol will pose somewhat of a problem because he is a superior boxer. But David Morrel's a boxer too, and I feel like his hand speed is much quicker than Bivol. They'll sit there and box, but Bivol keeps a great defense, a great jab. He knows how to keep his positioning. So David Morrel's going to have a tough outing with him, even though he does have the power. Bivol is a sturdy individual. So they're going to box, and I feel like he's going to go 12 rounds. He'll be one of the few people that actually goes 12 rounds with Morrel, unless Morrel could get a late stoppage. But Bivol is no slow lead. He has great defense. He's very durable. He can take the power shots. David Morrel's going to have to set him up and put him down because it's going to be a real hard-fought battle. But I feel like Morrel's speed, his athleticism, his head movement, and his power will be a little bit too much for Dimitri Bivol. And I feel like that's going to be a great fight. They're going to box, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. But like I said, David Morrel is S-class, and I don't see nobody really sticking to him. And I feel like he's going to get him up out of there. So I feel like David Benavides is the easiest out of the top 5 people in him to fight. Then I think Artur Beterbiev, then Dimitri Bivol. Then I'm going to say Marius Bredis. Bredis is a monster. Him and Jai Opetaia are interchangeable, honestly. I don't know which one is 1 or 2 because Jai Opetaia beat Marius Bredis and went to the hospital. And both his fights was tough against Marius Bredis. Alexander Usyk barely beat Marius Bredis. I think it was a majority decision. Marius Bredis is a wild card, and he's the worst one to go up against. He has power, he's durable, and he's big. He's a cruiserweight. So that means David Morrel's power is going to have to carry up the cruiserweight. It's not going to have the effect that it has at 168 and 175, but I still feel like it'll be potent. And I still feel like he's going to put on a clinic. But Bredis is a monster. He's a person that's going to come through. So he's going to have to use his diligence. He's going to have to use his boxing ability. He's going to have to use his speed. But the fact that he's done fought Benavides, Beterbiev, and Bivol before he gets there, iron sharpens iron. So it's going to increase his skills. Plus, he's 26 down. By that time, he'll be around 28. So his power will fully mature. So I feel like that fight right there, I feel like it's going to go the distance probably. I don't see nobody stopping Bredis, but if anybody can stop him, it'll be David Morrel. I feel like the ref will have to step in because I feel like the hand speed will be a little bit too much. I feel like David Morrel in the later rounds, since he does carry his stamina, I feel like he will start pouring it on, letting his hands fly, popping, make it look real good at the end. I feel like that's what he could do to him. Then we got Morrel versus Jai Opetaia at cruiserweight. And that's going to be the big match right there. Jai Opetaia as well as Morrel both have speed. They both have boxing ability. But I think at this point, Morrel's skills will eclipse Jai. It's going to be a hard-fought battle. And Ja might get stopped, honestly. Bredis don't get stopped really, but I think Ja, the way he takes the punishment, I feel like it'll be a tough fight, but I think the boxing ability of Morrel will prove too much, and I feel like Morrel will be sitting into the cruiserweight division. Like his body would have done adapted to the division. His power will be there. I feel like his boxing ability, and I feel like he's going to be a little too quick, long, and I feel like his boxing acumen is going to be ungrown, especially if he goes through this gauntlet that I just said. He's going to have the necessary skills, and he's going to develop them. And like I said, he's a superstar. He's a superstar in the making. And him and Ja Obitaya, I feel like is the final countdown, the best battle coming up. And I feel like Morrel will probably be around 29 if this happens. And it'll be a great ability because Morrel is a hell of a boxer. And he's been fighting tough opponents since his third fight. He is the world champion. And as the world champion, you have to take on all challenges. You have to take on your mandatories and everything. So, yes, he doesn't get no weak fights. He don't fit nobody outside the top 10. And that's what people don't understand. So, this is my story on David Morrel. And like I said, he's a SS rank in the making, like a superstar. And he has a chance to make history. And a lot of people are avoiding him because they know what this man is about and what he brings to the table. And it's going to be a beautiful thing. And like I said before, every day at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, check out my show, Arms Too Short to Box with God, me, and my lovely co-host, Key Alexandra, where we give y'all real boxing talk. Yes, real boxing talk, and anybody can add to it, open panel. And tonight, I will be dropping part 3 of the series of Apex Boxing Legends, and it's going to be David Morrel versus Andre Ward at 168. Peace and bless to you all. AMC FSG, we out.